What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Good? Yeah, a little heavy energy. Yeah, it's last couple of days have been collectively pretty heavy, but that's all good. Glad you tuned in today. And this video, I want to talk about the political system, and I think I titled it the political energy game, and kind of what goes on behind the scenes of our political system in America. But I mean, it's very similar in other countries and other parts of the world as well. What goes on behind the scenes energetically, and what we can do about it to kind of take our power back. So a lot of the system is set up so that flat out you're a victim. You've been seeing this a lot the last 4 years with Trump, and how a lot of the news stations are grooming you to be a victim and blame Trump, blame your miserable life on Trump or any other politicians for that matter, and you take responsibility out of your hands and put it into someone else's hands. Literally just scapegoating people. And it's a major problem for many of us because it feeds into this narrative that we're powerless, and because we're believing that, we, consciously or subconsciously give our power away to these politicians, usually in the form of angry energy, and instead of acting and creating our own lives with the tools and the knowledge and the resources that we do have control over, we spend so much of our time and energy blaming, shaming, criticizing other people in our external, which again is just a major energy suck, a major time suck. Even outside of my studio, I see someone every day, most days, with chalk writing, F Trump, like the pandemic is to blame for him, his pathetic pandemic response. And again, just like seeing and feeling the energy of someone who does that, not judging, but again, just kind of illuminating the energy behind it is very low density, is very victim consciousness. And they could be investing that same energy a lot better in bettering their own life. Maybe if they're feeling scared about the pandemic narrative, I'll say, they could do some research on their immune system, or go about it in more of a Western medicine way. But still, again, it's throwing up all of their precious energy onto someone outside of them, versus owning it, versus taking responsibility for their own life, maybe their own disease, maybe their own feeling of powerlessness in their job, and step by step changing that themselves, and not just getting super angry and pent up and their gears grinded by someone who's been made an easy target by most news stations. There's this cancel culture of again, just blaming it on a politician and not taking responsibility for your own life. And if you're under this facade of it's so important who wins on November 3rd, or who gets elected in all the offices, if you're under that illusion still, you're going to have a much more difficult decade. Navigating this decade, you're going to experience a lot more uncomfortableness, versus someone who tunes in and realizes that, no matter who gets elected, I'm going to be fine. That has such a minuscule role on my life, and how the quality of my life. And a lot of these narratives a lot of these narratives of, if Trump gets in, like, minorities are going to be effed, or like, gay rights are going to be taken away, like all of these things, which I actually, hardcore believed in for a very long time. These are just narratives that the media likes to recycle, that cause fear, that cause division, that cause separation, that cause panic. If you really tune into, and again, this is not a political video. I'm not saying Trump is right or wrong. I'm not saying Biden is right or wrong. You're allowed to have your favorites, but if you tune into what Trump actually says versus what the media is painting him to say about gay rights and things like that, there's a huge dichotomy between it. And again, just energetically reading Trump, you have nothing to fear in terms of legislation. That's not, a motive for them. And anyways, the social change is not, it can't be dictated through legislation. Like, to a point it can be, but if enough people say, I accept gay people for who they are, I accept, anyone for the color of their skin, it doesn't really matter, as long as collectively we're seeing that equality. It really doesn't matter. They're just making it a story. They're making it a thing, so you energetically, again, can sink your energy, invest your energy into hate, into blame, into fear, instead of owning who you are and keeping your energy for something much more productive. We like to think a lot of these newscasters, a lot of these companies, certain politicians are benevolent, and some definitely are. Some are well-meaning, but a lot of them, again, there's this agenda, whether conscious or, for some people or subconscious for others, of using the political system to control people. And again, it's super important. It's like how they've been grooming you guys to be a victim. And you're seeing the same thing now with sickness, grooming people to be a victim of, if someone else is not wearing their mask, then they're not protecting you, then they can get you sick. So has a lot of people being in this victim mode of, oh my God, like I have to blame, I have to shame other people outside of me in order to feel safe, in order to feel sick, in order to feel healthy. And, it's breeding, the news and the political system, it's breeding this cesspool of like, I'm not going to be okay unless something outside of me changes. But the whole takeaway with this, guys, is the silver lining of this is you get to a point of being so much a victim because you've been subscribing to the news, you've been subscribing to politicians who say one thing that actually do something else, or that say they care when they actually don't really care. The silver lining is you reach a level of pain that wakes you up, where you say, wait a minute, this system wants me to keep doing things in my life the same exact way. This system wants me to keep watching Netflix, wants me to keep, binge eating over my feelings about this, wants me to keep numb, more or less, wants me to keep indebted. When in reality, guys, once you start changing your life and unsubscribing from this political energy game of, again, giving your energy away to this like victim mentality, you actually start making changes in your life. You actually start taking responsibility for, things related in like the area of your career, in terms of your own money and wealth creation, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your own health. And once you start being a creator in your own life and, using that energy that you used to throw up and ejaculate onto the news, and you use it to be your own creator of a good life, you no longer rely on it, and you no longer are a controllable piece in the political system and in the news system as well. And that's What they're really afraid of, like big pharma, big medicine, the Targets of the world, these big corporations. They want you to feel deficient. They want you not to change. They want you, to project your pain onto other people, because when you do that, when you're in this victim state of feeling helpless, that's when these entities in the government can swoop in, these corporations can swoop in, and that's when you're vulnerable to them. That's when you're vulnerable to, what they want, which is reliance on them, right? These corporations, they want you to feel deficient. They want you to feel reliant on their products, their goods and services, so that they can sell them to you. The government wants you to feel reliant on them for money, for welfare, for social security, because you're controllable that way, because we're moving towards a space of they're going to give you these things. They're going to give you a basic base income, but you're going to have to get a vaccine, but you're going to have to do, X, Y, and Z. That's what we're moving to. So the less you're actually, victim to and reliant on the systems that are in play right now that are actually crumbling, but it's going to take a little bit. The less you're reliant on all these things, guys, the more power you have, the more control, the more responsibility that you take in your own life, the better off you'll be, and the more you'll be able to actually see that it doesn't matter who wins in a couple weeks with the election. It really doesn't. I mean, it would definitely set us off in two different timelines. Trump and Biden, they have very, very, very different energies. But at the end of the day, when you take your energy back, it really doesn't matter who wins or who loses. Because at the end of the day, you win. So, yeah, I think that's all for this video. Thanks, guys. Give it a like, give it a subscribe in the bottom right corner of this video, and give it a comment if you liked or didn't like it. Give it a donation. In the comments, there's a little donation tab. And is there anything else I really want to add to this? It's already Wednesday, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I think that's all. And cool, guys. I will see you very, very soon. Take care.